everyone, Jackie Edwards here. Welcome to the Women Power Wealth Show. Now today I've got Lorraine Dallmeier here, and we are going to talk about kind of growing your wealth, picking your investments, and really making sure women have that confidence to move forward. So Lorraine, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Jackie. Lovely to join you on your show. Thank you for having me. So my name is Lorraine Dallmeier and I run Formula Botanica. We're an online training school for people who want to start their own beauty brand. So we teach people how to formulate natural skincare or hair care and hopefully soon makeup as well, and then turn that into an indie beauty brand. And we now have over 10,000 students in 164 countries around the world. We are a global education institution, and I've basically grown it to that level from actually buying it as a tiny one-woman startup 7 years ago. So I suppose that's the sort of me in a nutshell.
Excellent. And that's a great starting point, because one of the things I really want to dig into and that I really am interested in talking about is kind of the investment side of things. So a lot of people, when they think, oh, I need to invest in something or even build a business, sometimes they just think it has to be like hard work, it has to be really boring, or they're like, oh, I should invest in stocks. And I really think it can be fun, it can be exciting. Let's invest in things that we're interested in and that we want to be involved in. So how did you kind of decide to invest in this company? How did that all come about?
Well, I was on maternity leave at the time, actually. I had taken a couple of courses with Formula Botanica and loved them. I was one of its first ever students. And I have a science background. I trained as a biologist, and I thought, I'm going to start my own natural skincare brand. So I thought I need to take a course. So found this course online, took it, loved it. And then I realized the life-changing potential of the course, because it was starting to change my life. You know, I launched an app on DIY beauty, which had me featured in lots of different mainstream publications. I started a blog and had 20,000 readers a month, and all these opportunities were coming out the woodwork as a result of me getting into this industry. So then I thought, well, if it can change my life like this, imagine how it could change someone else's life. And I then had the opportunity to actually buy and take over the company, which at the time was tiny. It was, you know, just one person with, I think it was about 200 students. And it was basically pitched to me as, this is a side hustle. You can run this for an hour a day and it will bring you in some nice pocket money to supplement your 9-to-5 day job. And as I said, I was on maternity leave with my second son. I had my toddler at home. I thought, I can handle an hour a day. That would be fine. And yeah, we looked at it. You know, I sort of said, okay, send me across the accounts. So I sent them across to my accountant, to my parents, to my parents-in-law, to my brothers-in-law, literally everyone who wanted to sort of provide their opinion. And I said, what do you think? And everyone went, yeah, Lorraine, yeah, we think this could be a really nice little sort of hobby project for you. Now, in hindsight, I realize how incredibly patronizing that was. And I sort of went, okay, well, everyone seems to think it's viable. I don't think I'm going to lose money out of this. So let's do it. And I basically wiped out my savings to do this.
Yeah.
But I had a good feeling about it. And, you know, here I am 7 years later. I now have 30 staff. It is not a side hustle. It is not a hobby project. And, you know, we sell millions of pounds worth of courses a year. So from that respect, it was a great investment. But obviously, hindsight is a beautiful thing.
So if you want to tell me a little bit more about your journey, because it's really interesting that, you know, everybody immediately thought, oh, this will be a great side hustle for you. You're on maternity leave. I'm assuming, you know, you have your children. That should be your main focus, and that'll be all that you need in your life. But if you want to dabble a little bit on the side, let's do that too.
Yes.
So how did you
It was
kind
very
of
much
get to grow it and decide to take it more than a side hustle?
Well, it sort of decided it for me a little bit as well. But I'm the sort of person who I don't procrastinate and I don't give up when it comes to work. So had everyone in my circle around me actually thought about who I am and how I operate, they would have probably realized that it was never going to be an hour a day, because I had really good jobs. You know, I had fairly high-powered jobs for the decade before I bought Formula Botanica. I was paid good salaries. I was on a 6-figure salary by the time I was 25. I traveled all around the world. I had lots of responsibility, but I kept hitting that glass ceiling, and it really frustrated me because I was constantly told, oh, we can't promote you. We can't give you this. You're just too young. You're too inexperienced. as you can probably tell, I don't take to that too kindly. So I got to the point, I thought, enough of this, I need my own thing. And then I had my own thing, and I thought, now I have my own thing, I'm going to try and make it work as much as I can. So I literally threw myself at learning digital marketing, and my children breastfed for a very long time. I think it was about almost 6 years combined. So I was constantly on the sofa with a baby on me, basically, asleep. So I spent a lot of time just reading digital marketing blogs and ebooks on my phone to try and learn about it. And it all made so much sense. So I then started to put it into practice. And the first time I did a launch, we sold, I think it was about £35,000 worth of courses in a week. I say we, me, I sold that. Sorry, I'm in we mode. And at that point, I thought, okay, I'm really onto something here. And I quit my job. And I said to my partner, I'm going to quit my job. And he went, no, don't do that. And I said, nope, I'm doing it. If I need another job, I will find one. If I have to wait tables, I will go and do it. But this is something I really want to do. And so I just threw myself into it, basically, and I haven't stopped since.
And so that's been kind of 7 years in the making since then. Any kind of looking back and saying, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I should have stayed at corporate?
No,
not.
No, never. Absolutely not. I love being my own boss. I love being able to call the shots. The thing that I worked in big corporate. I worked for one of the world's largest energy companies for years, and I was always so frustrated by the pointless meetings and the poor decision making and the bullying and the backstabbing. And I just looked at that and I thought, I have no time for any of this crap. I want to build something that is successful. I know I can do it. And the only person who's going to give me that opportunity is me.
Yeah.
So no, not for 1 second do I regret stepping out of it, because I am now in charge and I call the shots. And yeah, love it.
And you can pick the direction that you want to go, and everything can kind of fall into place. And I also really like what you talked about kind of really being able to make a difference. You kind of started and said, well, if this made such a big difference to me, think of the big difference you can make to so many more people, which is so amazing when you think your investments have that power. Like, you don't just have to do something boring that's never going to excite you. It's never going to change the world. You're literally able to do that and make a lot of money all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have, as I said, over 10,000 students, and not all of them have started indie beauty brands, but a lot of them have.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look at, we use Trustpilot to collect third-party reviews for the people who've gone through our courses. And the main piece of feedback we seem to get is, you've changed my life.
Yes.
And that is just one of the most empowering things to read. And my team loves that as well. You know, I have 30 staff now, and, you know, they see all of the reviews come in, and it's just heartwarming to know that all the hard work that we put in ultimately leads to us changing lives all over the world and creating wealth for them too. Because, you know, some of our most successful graduates, you know, they employ big teams. They're sold in multiple countries. They're stocked in major retailers.
Yeah.
That's incredible and empowering. And effectively, we're helping create gender equality through entrepreneurship, which is one of my big missions.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Because I assume a lot of the people kind of coming through your courses are women, because you're in the beauty industry. That's just norm. Yeah.
Yes. I'd say about 95% of our student body is female.
Yeah.
What I find is that they have this deep connection and passion for the ingredients that they use in formulations. So it's not so much about beauty and appearance, it's more about health, well-being, and connecting with nature. And that seems to be where people are headed with the beauty industry now, which is something I'm delighted to see, because I'm not a huge fan of the mainstream beauty industry. So yeah, we have a very unique tribe, a very large tribe of incredible people, and they lift each other up. You know, I watch people start businesses every year, lots of businesses in our community, and they support each other. And that is just one of the most heartwarming things I've ever seen.
Yes. Beautiful. And I think I love that that's the direction that people can go in for their business, because, you know, I'm not super excited about using all of the chemical productions that the mainstream companies use, when we can use more natural, more healthy, more earth-friendly materials as well. So the more people, so it's almost like you're touching everything. You're touching the like climate side of things, the health and beauty, wellness, and you're changing people's lives by starting businesses. It's just amazing how many ways that we can touch the world when we really think and really kind of lean into, this is what I'm excited about, this is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm a chartered environmentalist as well. I've studied environmental science, and I now have a platform to shape the way that the industry moves. And I now have a voice which people listen to.
Yes.
And that is an incredibly empowering thing to have as well. So yeah, it's opened up lots of different avenues and opportunities for me personally, as well as my customers, as well as my team.
Yeah.
So it's been a roller coaster ride getting there. Don't get me wrong, you know,
Yeah.
I've experienced everything in the book, I think, and there's been a lot of downs as well as a lot of ups, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I think having that voice is super important. I know, I can sit back sometimes and be like, oh my goodness, there's so many things going wrong in the world, so many things that I don't agree with, so many things that are going crazy, but I'm just one person. How can I make that difference? And you really can, especially if you've got kind of that wealth and that power behind you. Like you've kind of grown yourself to be a speaker in the industry. You've kind of brought yourself to that point where now you can make that difference. Whereas if you just, I find so many women just stay small and they don't want to push themselves forward or be seen and heard, and they don't kind of step into that power where you can make that change. So it's amazing that you've kind of stepped forward to do that.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Yes, I have noticed that as well. I mean, obviously, we have a very women-based community, and I do notice that the relationship with money is something a lot of people struggle with. I've never struggled with it. I will say that my parents started their own business when I was 8 at home. I watched them grow their business over a couple of decades, less than that actually, 15 years. They sold their business when they were in their early 50s when I was at university, and retired young. So I've always grown up in a family that sort of viewed money as something that we could go out and get.
Yeah.
And I've taken that. I hope to pass that on to my children. I have no strange sort of hang-ups about it, but I've seen a lot of people really, really struggle. And I find that sometimes a bit frustrating because I want to sort of lift them up and take them with me. And we do our best to try and help people break through these blocks. But
Yeah.
it's something that it's an internal struggle for most people, I guess.
Yeah. And I think it's almost how we've been like raised culturally, if even if it's a little bit self-conscious, that it's almost like it's okay for men to go out there and do the work and make lots of money and build their businesses and keep growing and growing and growing. Whereas women were almost taught, you should be nurturing and caring and take care of everybody else and kind and gentle. And it can almost be a fight to have to kind of get over that and say, well, I can change the world. I can do all the good things and I can have money at the same time and make a lot of money. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like you can do both at the same time.
Absolutely. You know, I don't get asked this anymore, thankfully. I think I've smacked most people down about it, but quite a few people used to ask me, what does your husband do? I'd be like, don't you mean what do I do? And I was on a panel this week actually, and we were talking about how educating yourself at home in cosmetic formulation can be really empowering. And one of the panelists on the panel said, it's great because then all these women can learn this new skill and they can take that with them as they travel around with their husbands. And I just sat there. I didn't want to sort of scream at everyone, but I thought, where did that come from? You are a person in your own right, and regardless of who your partner is, you can step into that opportunity and create your own wealth and yeah, business opportunities.
Yeah, and you can be the one that your partner follows around if you need to be able to, yeah, have the life that you want. It doesn't have to just be the women following the men anymore.
It can go anyway. It's whatever that works best for
Yeah.
you. We retired my partner 3 years ago. He looks after the kids, although they're at school most of the time, and he's very happy about that. And I'm very happy that he's very happy. And for us, that works. So there isn't one set way. And I do find it a bit sad that that is still very much pushed out there.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get rid of that in the 21st century.
Yeah. And I think having and being able to grow more wealth gives us that flexibility and that little bit more power to start thinking outside of the box that we've been in for so long, that we can start thinking, how does it work better for my family? So for me, I know my husband loves to work. Like sometimes I feel like, oh, if only I could drag you away, but he loves his team, he loves what he does, he loves all about it. So I don't think he's ever going to stop completely, even though he could. It doesn't have to be there every day. And that's just how he works and how it works for us. but other people, I know many women that have retired their husbands, and it can be difficult. And they think, well, what am I going to tell my friends down at the pub? Oh, now I'm working for my wife and taking care of the kids. But of course, that is fine. That can be completely normal. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. So a lot
Yeah.
of it is just about kind of normalizing that conversation and saying we can have whatever life we want to have and whatever works for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about my first ever boyfriend. I remember how he used to turn to me, and I mean, obviously we're not together anymore, which you're going to find out why in a minute. He would turn to me and say things like, I would never be able to handle it if you earn more money than me. And clearly he is now long gone. But I often think back to that statement and I think, what a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah.
Why would it matter either way who earns more money? Because you're in a partnership,
Yeah.
effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a situation like that. It was quite funny. So I was working with I worked with one of the big accounting firms that was not too long after I moved to London. I lived in a house share because, well, I wanted to meet more people. So I lived in a house share, but I still made quite a lot of money. And I went out with this guy and he was a doctor. And I think he came over and looked in my closet and saw, I said, like suits in there. And he was like, well, what, I was like, well, I'm an accountant. Like I wear a suit to work. He's like, well, how much money do you make? And I told him and he was just like, what's going on? He was a doctor and he was like, you make more money than me. I'm like, yeah,
That's
it's
okay.
okay. Yeah, he didn't last very long either.
Yeah.
But
No, it's strange to see how these ideas still persist. And I think all we can do is challenge them, show people that something else is possible and inspire them. And at the moment we have a plan at Formula Botanica to grow by 150% in the next 2 years.
wow.
And I've been very freely sharing that with people and they sit there and they're like, oh my word, that is enormous. I mean, the figures you're talking about are enormous. And to me, they're so big that I don't even really sort of comprehend them, but it doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
And it seems to inspire the people I talk to because they love the fact that
Yes.
someone's really challenging them and forcing them to think big. So I think all we can do is just continue to put information like this out there in the world and inspire people with it.
Yeah. And I like what you say is as you continue to grow, it shows what's possible to, other people, other women out there to say, well, she did this, so it's possible. So why can't I do it? And just gives them that kind of confidence to move forward and keep growing what they want to do as well. So,
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. Do you see, I just want to talk really quickly about any of your, be specific about students, but because a lot of them are women, they're getting started building their businesses for the first time. What do you see as kind of the most common, maybe money blocks or mindset issues that they kind of come into it with?
Okay, it's a good question. So we teach people how to make a beauty product. We teach them how to blend the ingredients together and create a product that is safe and stable for sale around the world. And when you go into any store around the world, and everyone will recognize this, you will go over to the shelves, pick up a product, and you'll go, how much? And then there's one next to it that's probably half the price.
Yeah.
And you can everyone watching can probably think of a brand where you've looked at the prices and gone, I am not paying $100 for a cream. Yeah. And I found that a lot of the people we teach, the formulators, they struggle with that connect between, or disconnect, I suppose, between how much it costs to make a product and how much you actually sell it for.
Yeah.
And I've regularly seen threads in our big teaching groups where people go, look at this, how could they charge that? And I actually always go, nice, that's really clever that they charge that. And yeah, maybe those ingredients aren't worth it, but someone's going to pay that price because they want to buy into the whole experience. Yes. So good for them. So we find that we have to really encourage people not only to recognize that what it costs to make a product isn't necessarily what you charge for it, but also to put a worth on their own time and their own sort of almost visibility in their business. And we find that the majority of people we work with really struggle with people even being able to see them because they just feel very uncomfortable around all of that. So there are a lot of things to unpick, and we work very hard with our students, and the ones who break through those barriers are the ones who really go on to shine and succeed all around the world, which is very rewarding to watch.
Yeah. It's interesting because that's one of the biggest issues that I see kind of around women is coming up with their pricing, whether you're selling a physical product or you're selling maybe a training course or something online or coaching services, is feeling like it's so linked to who we are And because it's almost like we're undervaluing ourselves and saying, well, I'm not worth that. Why should somebody pay that much for me? And they should, because you are worth it. But it's not just you, it's all the time and effort that you've put into it in the background as well, because you didn't just come up with this, formula in 5 minutes. It's you've studied for it, you've thought about it for a long time, you've put the time and effort into it, finding exactly the right way of doing whatever you're doing in your specific formula, and marketing it and getting it all out there and building up your brand and your team. And there's so much more that goes into it than just a couple of ingredients that cost.
Absolutely. You're not putting a price on yourself here. You're putting a price on the product that you're going to sell. And
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head there. I think a lot of people carry that with them. Like, how could I charge that amount of money? Well, you can if your product and your brand is good enough. Absolutely. Yep. It's not a reflection of who you are as an individual. It's a reflection of something you've created, which people want to buy into. Yep. And there will always be someone.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people, they think, well, if I'm charging this money, then it's almost like I'm taking that money from somebody else. And so then they don't have any money. And, the more money I have, the less money other people have. And I shouldn't do that. Whereas really you are adding something of value. That person wouldn't buy your product. They wouldn't buy your services unless they were getting value from it in exchange for that money. So you've not just taken their money, you've given them something amazing that they really wanted, that they couldn't do themselves, or that changes their life. So yeah. It's okay. It's okay to have that money, because it just shows that you're adding all that value out into the world and doing things for other people. So it's
just... and not just that. I mean, you're quite right, but it's more than that. Even when you create a successful business, you help other people create successful businesses too. And I'm not talking about the people we teach. I'm talking about the people we employ. And I have, as I said, 30 people in my team right now. I've worked with dozens, probably over 100 contractors over the last 7 years. And some of those people have been able to grow and scale their businesses as a result of the work I've given them.
Yeah.
And that I've always found incredibly empowering. I've watched people being able to start up their limited companies or become VAT registered for the first time. Yeah. Or even this year, one of our contractors was going to have to furlough their staff. And I said, no, we're going to triple what we spend on you, so you don't have to do that, because we'd rather use your time whilst you have the time. And that is also incredibly empowering, that we're helping other businesses grow.
Yeah, I love that as well, especially as we're kind of coming into this recession and things are going to be harder for other people. I love the fact that I can continue to pay my staff, my contractors, even, a cleaner at my house. We've got rental properties. I can employ the cleaners that go to those properties, and my handymen and my builders. And I can continue to put money into the economy that's helping, it'll help them, it'll help their families, and then they'll spend it in their local areas, and it just keeps growing. And if we don't have that wealth, we can't do that. If we don't put ourselves into that position where we've got the money to be able to take care of ourselves, to feel comfortable and safe and secure in our lives, that we can spend the money and help other people feel safe and comfortable as well. It's just, yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Oh, good. That was lovely. Oh, anything else you want to share in our last few minutes here? That was long. I loved it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Just that if anyone is interested in Formula Botanica, come and follow us on Instagram in particular. I'm also on Instagram. I spent years and years building up our Instagram account. We almost have like 70,000 followers now, and neglected my own entirely. So if you'd like to come and follow me, I'd be delighted. At Lorraine Dallmeier. And if anyone is interested in learning how to become an organic skincare entrepreneur or formulator, then we have a free training course on our website at formulabotanica.com. We'd love to welcome you onto that.
Oh, awesome. And I'll make sure all of those links are in the show notes as well, so you guys all have easy access to just click away. But thank you so much for sharing that. It was lovely to speak to you today.
And you. Thank you for having me.